Okay, be honest with me for a second. How many times have you been sitting out in your backyard, trying to relax, and you catch your neighbor's kid just staring at you through the fence gap? Or worse, you're trying to sunbathe, and you realize the guy 2 houses down has a clear line of sight straight into your yard from his upstairs window? Yeah, we're fixing that today. Welcome back to Daily Garden Fix. If you're new here, I turn boring, expensive garden problems into stuff you can actually afford and actually do yourself. And today's problem is privacy. I've got 15 ways to block out nosy neighbors, busy streets, and prying eyes, and none of these are going to wreck your wallet. Some of them you can literally do this afternoon. Stick with me till the end, because the last couple ideas on this list are the ones people ask me about the most in the comments. All right, grab a coffee. Let's get into your backyard. Let's start easy, like embarrassingly easy. You know those bamboo rolls you've probably walked past 100 times at the hardware store and never really looked at? Grab one of those. They run you maybe 20 to 40 bucks depending on the size, and putting it up is genuinely a 10-minute job. Here's what you're going to do. Measure the space you want to cover first, whether that's your existing fence, a railing, or even just a frame you knock together real quick. Grab a bamboo roll that matches that length, unroll it flat against whatever you're attaching it to, and line up the top edge so it's even. Then just work your way across with zip ties or garden wire, looping them around the bamboo and whatever's behind it, pulling tight and snipping off the extra. Space those every foot or so. That's genuinely it. You'll have a warm, tropical-looking privacy wall by lunchtime. One thing, though, if you're somewhere windy, spend the extra few bucks on the thicker bamboo. The cheap, thin stuff will crack on you after a season, and you'll be back here redoing it. Now here's one people sleep on completely: outdoor curtains. I know it sounds almost too simple to work, but hear me out. Hang a couple of weatherproof curtain panels between 2 posts, or under a pergola if you got one. And suddenly you've got this soft, breezy privacy that actually looks intentional, like something out of a magazine, not like you're hiding from the world. To actually put these up, figure out your 2 mounting points first, measure the distance between them, and if you're using brackets, mark the spots, drill a small pilot hole, and screw each bracket in. Slide your curtain rod through the top of the panels, rest it into the brackets, or, if you're using a tension rod, just twist it to extend and wedge it tight between the posts. Adjust until they hang evenly, and when you actually want the view back, just tie them off to the side with a cord. Just make sure the tag says outdoor or weather resistant. Regular indoor curtains will mildew and fall apart on you within a month out there. Trust me. All right, let's talk about the option where nature does the work for you. Get yourself a trellis. Wood or metal doesn't matter much, and pair it with something fast-growing like clematis, morning glory, or star jasmine. This is one of my favorite options because it doesn't just block the view, it actually smells incredible once it fills in. Dig a hole about a foot deep for your trellis if it doesn't already have a base, stand it up, pack the soil in tight around it, and give it a push to make sure it's not wobbly. Then dig small planting holes right at the base, about a foot apart. Drop your vines in, cover the roots, water them well. As they start growing, gently guide the stems toward the trellis and loosely tie them on so they know which direction to climb. Now I'll be straight with you. This isn't an overnight fix. You're looking at a full growing season before it really fills in. But once it does, it's honestly one of the prettiest things on this whole list. If you want something with basically zero patience required, let's talk pallets. If you can get your hands on free wooden pallets, and you usually can, hardware stores practically give them away. You're sitting on a nearly free privacy fence. Dig your post holes about 2 feet deep. Set your posts in, check they're standing straight, and let the soil or quick-set concrete around them harden up. Once that's solid, lift your pallets upright against the posts, drill pilot holes through the slats, and screw them into place. 3 or 4 screws per pallet is plenty. Sand down any rough edges so nobody gets a splinter. And if you want it looking less like a construction site leftover, throw a coat of outdoor stain on it. Quick safety note: check the stamp on the pallet before you use it. You want ones marked HT, which means heat treated, not chemically treated. Especially important if you've got kids or pets running around out there. Now, what if you're renting and you can't exactly dig holes in someone else's yard? I got you. Grab some large planters. Bigger is always better here. At least 18 to 24 inches wide, and fill them with tall shrubs like arborvitae, clumping bamboo, or boxwood. Fill the planter about a third full with soil. Gently loosen the roots of your shrub, set it in the center, backfill around it, and water it until it drains through the bottom. Line a row of these up along whatever needs screening, and just shift them around until the gaps between plants close up visually. The best part? Moving day comes. You take your privacy wall with you. No landlord drama. And speaking of quick wins, shade sails aren't just for blocking sun. Angled right, they block sight lines too, especially from those second-story windows next door that always seem to have a perfect view into your yard. Pick 3 or 4 anchor points, could be your house wall, a fence post, whatever sturdy, and attach a hook or eye bolt to each one. Hook one corner of the sail on, pull it toward the next point, hook that corner too, and repeat until all corners are attached. Use a turnbuckle on at least one corner so you can crank it tight until there's no sagging. Here's the trick most people miss. Angle it lower on the side, facing your neighbor's yard, not just straight overhead. That's what actually kills the sight line, not just the shade. Okay, this next one is kind of a starter privacy fix: lattice panels. On their own, they only give partial coverage, but stick with me because there's a trick to making them fully private. Dig your post holes, set your posts, let them cure. Once they're solid, hold your lattice panel up against them. Mark where everything lines up, drill your pilot holes, and screw it into place. Here's the part that matters though. Plant a climbing vine right at the base. On its own, lattice just breaks up the view a bit. With a vine growing through it, fully blocked, and it looks incredible doing it. If you want privacy that also moves and sounds nice in the wind, tall ornamental grasses are criminally underrated. Think pampas grass, miscanthus, feathery grass. Pick a sunny strip along the area you want covered, dig holes about twice the width of the root ball, spaced 2 to 3 feet apart. Mix in a little compost for a strong start. Plant them level with the ground, water deeply, and mulch around the base. These grow fast, they get genuinely tall in one season, and unlike a solid fence, they sway and rustle, so your yard actually feels alive instead of boxed in. All right, we're getting into the projects that take a bit more of a weekend, but honestly, these give you the best results on the whole list. First, and this one's fun if you're a little bit crafty, build yourself a woven rope or fabric privacy screen. Build a simple rectangular frame out of 2x4s, or repurpose an old window frame if you've got one lying around. Lay it flat, staple one end of your rope or fabric strip to the frame, wrap it around vertically with even spacing, staple the other side, and just keep wrapping across the whole frame. Stand it up, lean it against your fence, or secure it between 2 posts, and that's a completely custom privacy wall that costs you almost nothing. Next level up from that, a vertical pallet planter wall. Stand a pallet up, staple landscape fabric across the back and bottom of each slot so soil doesn't just fall straight through. Fill each pocket with potting soil and plant small trailing or bushy plants, ferns, succulents, herbs, whatever you like, into each slot. Water gently, lay it flat for about a week to let the roots settle in, then stand it upright against a wall or post. Line a few of these up, and you've basically built a living wall. Now, if you want something that's going to outlast pretty much everything else on this list weather-wise, corrugated metal panels. Set your posts, let them cure, hold your first panel up against them, drill through into the post using screws with rubber washers. That little detail matters. It stops water sneaking into the screw holes and rusting things out early. Overlap the edge of your next panel slightly over the first. Keep going down the line. If the industrial look isn't your thing, a coat of exterior metal paint softens it up a lot. Okay, this next one, I get so many comments asking about this. A living willow fence. You buy fresh willow whips, push the thicker end about 6 inches into loosened soil, spacing them roughly 8 inches apart in a row. Then take your thinner whips and weave them horizontally through the uprights, over one, under the next, tying off each row with garden twine so it holds while it roots. Water it regularly. Willow roots insanely fast, and as new shoots grow, keep weaving them in to thicken the whole thing up. Within one season, this isn't just a screen, it's a living, growing fence, and it just gets denser every single year after that. If digging isn't allowed where you are, renters, I'm looking at you again. Modular freestanding fence panels are a lifesaver. They sit on concrete deck blocks or metal post spikes instead of being cemented in. Place your blocks or spikes at each joint, slot the panel's post base in, check its level, connect the next panel using the built-in bracket, and repeat down the line. Nothing's permanently attached to the ground, so you're not breaking any lease agreements. And if you like flexibility, a retractable privacy screen might be exactly what you need. Mount the roll bracket at one end, mount the track bracket at the other end level with it, pull the fabric across and clip it in, and test rolling it back and forth a few times to make sure it glides smoothly. Whenever you actually want the open view back, say you've got guests over and want to chat with the neighbors, you just roll it away. And finally, if you've got a full weekend, some help, and you want something permanent, build an actual wood privacy fence section. Mark your fence line with string and stakes so everything runs straight. Dig your post holes about 2 feet deep, space 6 to 8 feet apart. Set your posts, check them dead level, pour concrete, and let it cure for a full 1 to 2 days before touching it. Attach horizontal support rails between the posts, cut your fence boards to height, and attach them vertically one at a time, checking with a level every few boards so the top stays even. Yeah, it's the most work on this list by far, but it's also the one that adds real, lasting value to your property, not just privacy. So that's 15 ways to take your backyard back, whether you've got $50 in an hour or a whole weekend and a bit of ambition. I want to know, which one are you actually going to try? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and honestly, it helps me know what to cover next. If you've already done one of these in your own yard, even better, tell me how it turned out. If this saved you some money, do me a favor and hit subscribe, because I've got a video coming up next week on the biggest mistakes people make when planting privacy hedges. Trust me, you don't want to plant the wrong thing and wait a whole year to find out it didn't work. See you in the next one.